Hi there, welcome back to the English for Emerson guitar lessons. Last time we did a little bit of work on the 1-4-5 chord progression in the key of A. And we just did a little bit of a song called Blue Suede Shoes to illustrate our point. We're going to work a little bit more with that today. The thing is I'm not a musician. I'm not really in any way a good guitar player. It's just kind of interesting to me. I hope it's of interest to my son Emerson. Maybe it's of interest to somebody else out there. Maybe I can help somebody out, because for somebody like me who doesn't know anything about music, it was difficult to figure out how the fretboard worked and how to do anything with it other than just play a few chords. So I've learned a few things. At least I think I've learned a few things, and maybe if somebody can benefit from it, great. If not, then it's no loss. Really. I don't think I'm going to mess anybody up too bad. We talked about how to make an A chord for this Barnyard rock and roll. We're taking our index finger and putting it down. We're barring it down on the third string down from the top, covering the third one down, fourth one down, fifth one down on the second fret. And I'm strumming from I'm kind of avoiding the tops, this string, the bass string in this, and I'm avoiding that string way down there too. I'm kind of playing in the middle. That's our A. To get to a D, we move the index finger down one and then put the middle finger on the third fret. That's our D, and to do an E, we brought the index finger up to the second string down from the top, barring everything down, second fret. And we talked about how most old barnyard rock and roll music and country and blues was done in a 1-4-5 progression. A is the 1, B, C, it's 2 and 3, D is the 4, E is the 5. It's a 1-4-5 progression. For whatever reason, that's just how things are done. It's a 1-4-5 progression, A, D, and E. So we did this little song, Blue Suede Shoes, famous old rock and roll song. We'll do it together just a little bit. Well, it's a 1 for the money. I'm on the A, starting with the 1. 2 for the show, 3 to get ready. Now go, cat, go, but don't you. In the 4, step on my blue suede shoes. You can do anything, lay off of my blue suede shoes. I'm in the 1-1, 1-1, 1. I'm in the 1-1-1-1. Down to the 4 chord now. Back to the 1 chord now. Up to the 5 chord then. Back to the 1 chord now. You slap my dog, spit in my face, scatter my name all over the place. Do the thing that you want to do, but honey, lay off of them shoes, or don't you step on my blue suede shoe. You can do the thing, but lay off of my blue suede shoe. It's a 1-4-1-5 sequence and repeats. That's how a lot of those old songs go. They go in a 1-4-1-5 chord progression. You can change it up. It doesn't have to be 1-4-1-5. The 12-bar blues is based on something completely different. And a lot of songs in country and rock and roll just go with a 1-4-5, 1-4-5, 1-4-5 repeating over and over again. You don't have to start in A. You can start in a different key. You can start with a different one. That's what, we're not going to teach the other chords now, but let's say you started in a G, what would be the 4? If you started off with your G as a 1, well, G, A, B, C, that would be your 4. D would be your 5. G, A, B, C, D. Do you follow me that G is the 1, C is the 4, D is the 5? So from the great Atlantic Ocean to the wide Pacific shore, from the Green Mountain Mountains to the icebound Labrador. That's a 1-4-5 chord progression in the key of G. So it doesn't matter, wherever you start that's going to be your 1. I can start off in E. I can start off in D. I can start off in C. But you're going to have the 1-4-5 chord progression. You just change the notes based on your starting point. I hope it makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, then I'm in trouble. But okay. We talked about last time how you can move up the fretboard. If I started here at A, if I wanted to get to a poor man's Barnyard Rock and Roll B, I'd just move my index finger up 2 frets. A full step is 2 frets to a B. To get to a C is a half step. To get to a D is a full step. To get to an E is another full step. And to get to an F is a half step. And I'm up to a G. Well, it's 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 get ready now, go, cat, go, but don't you step on my blue suede shoe. You can do anything, lay off of my blue suede shoes. You can move up and down the fretboard. You don't have to just stay down here. You can move up. And you do it in a particular, you count off these frets in a particular way. There's full steps and half steps. That's a little bit of memorization involved there. Now with this lesson, I had to make a little transition there. We've been talking about this 1-4-5 chord progression in the key of A. I'm doing an A chord right now. I'm on the 3rd string down from the top, 2nd fret. I hope you can appreciate the fact that there's more than one song I can do in this progression. It's not just Blue Suede Shoes. I hope that makes sense. There's all kinds of songs with the same thing. They sound totally different, but they got the same chords, like an old rock and roll song. I got a little change in my pocket going jing-a-ling-a-ling. I want to call you on the phone, baby. I want to give you a ring. But each time we talk, I get the same old thing. No hugs, no kisses till I get a wedding ring. My honey, my baby, gonna put my love upon your shelf. She said, don't pay me no lines, keep your hands to yourself. Kind of ran out of breath. Now, it's just a 1-4-5 or 1-4-1-5 progression over and over again. There's an old country song. Bet it ain't a-raining back home. Bet your sister's still on the phone. Bet mama's in the kitchen cooking fried chicken. Wishing that I hadn't done wrong. You can fool around with that chord. Of course, I make mistakes. You can fool around with that chord. You're not moving the finger at all, but you're using your fingers down here, and you can do different things with that chord without moving at all. Do you follow me? Makes it sound totally different, like a unique song, but it's just the same chords. I hope it makes sense. There's a heck of a lot of different songs we can do with the exact same basic chord progression. And we could just change it up a little bit. Do different things down here with our fingers and add in little things down here. Then you kind of start to move around a little bit, do different things. We'll teach that later. Well, within that chord progression of A, D, and E, let's just say for Barnyard Rock and Roll, then you start adding in things between your lyrics, between your words. Particularly if you have more than one person playing. That's what we're going to talk about now. Just basic Barnyard Rock and Roll. The strings on the closest one to me and the furthest away are both tuned to an E. Okay? They're both tuned to an E. This one down here furthest away from me is typically a lot of time used to kind of add a little solo or a little accent in there in the midst of the progression. If I am thinking about the working up the neck, we talked about this last time. If I got an E here, how would I do an F on those strings? The one closest to me and the one furthest away. If they're naturally at an E, how do I do an F? An F is a half step up from an E. F's and C's are always half steps up. All the other ones are a full step. Well, then I got to go a half step, which is from here, the nut. I just go 1 fret. 1 fret is a half step. So if I just bar that down, then I got F. E, F, E, F, E, F, E, F, E, F, E, F. How about if I wanted to do a G? I got a G is a full step up from an F, so I got to go 2 frets. 1, 2. E, G, E, G, E, G. How about if I want to do an A? An A is a full step up from a G. It's 2 frets. 1, 2. Here's my A. So within that chord progression, if I want to do an A that's kind of a, something a little accent in there, I can play that note. Oh, oops. I can bend it up too. That's pushing especially on an electric guitar, it's easier to bend. See, hear how it kind of cries a little bit? It adds a little something to it. I got a little something on my finger. It's plucking that next string up. How about if I wanted to go to B? That's another full step up. 2 strings, 2 frets. A, B. C is a half step. C. D is a full step. It's 2 frets. D. So now I got A, D, A, D. How about if I want E? Well, we know that's going to be the one with the 2 dots because the one with the 2 dots is always the same note an octave higher than you had when you were open. So if it's E here, then if I put that one with the 2 dots, that's going to be an E there. So that's my E note there. I can bend it. So this is barnyard rock and roll, okay? If I wanted to do some little solos over that backing track, I got it on YouTube now. This is a backing track in A, in the key of A. It's a 1-4-5 progression. Then I know I can do this A. Do you follow me? You can use that, well, you can use all the strings, but in particular, that string furthest away from me. You can play those notes, the A, D, and the E, that are the chords in that progression, and you could play along and do little bends and stuff to add a little bit to the song. And then later on, and we'll get to this at some point, you can add in scales to solo along to that progression. I hope it makes sense how you can move up the fretboard and find the notes that are the same notes that are the chords to the song, and do little solos and bends and stuff in there to kind of go along with the progression. And that's all I got to say on this edition of English for Emerson, Barnyard Rock and Roll Guitar. Okay, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.